Okay, well, it's been a while. I've heard some stories about embassies shutting down, blah, blah, blah. You know, unconfirmed threats and threat levels and bullshit like that. And I really don't have as much ammunition as I would like if we were going into an actual collapse. So I'm heading out to Cabelas right now. I was hoping to wait out this ammunition crisis. I was assuming that the price levels would drop, eventually, but I guess they're going to keep it up, whatever it is. So just for the heck of it, I'll go out to Cabelas and wherever else I can go to see what they got. And I'm not taking you in with me. No, you're not going in the store with me. You've been bad. So that's what I'm doing today. And I haven't been talking much lately, and it just seems like I pretty much said it all, but I can always rehash stuff. It's not true, I certainly haven't said it all, but it just doesn't seem like anybody really cares to hear, so whatever. But Nibiru Magic 2012 has said that he would like people to talk about Fukushima more, Don't forget about Fukushima, it's still going on. Do you remember? Does anybody remember Fukushima? I do, I certainly do. I do watch Miss Milky, and I do watch Nibiru Magic, and whatever they put up on that issue, just to keep tabs on what's going on. So if you want to get involved and see more about it, I would go there, and I'll put a link to those. At least you'll hear about it. My assumption is that they've melted, the cores have melted right through the bottom of the facility and have gone, down into the earth. China syndrome. So I'm not sure what else to say. Everything they're doing over there now is just pretending that they've got it under control. And so it's really, I'm just assuming the worst here, and what else are you going to do? What can you do when the worst happens? What can I do? Really, I can't do anything. Don't eat the tuna? No. I don't eat anything from the sea anyway, so, that's me. So I can't really do anything about it. So I'm just going to live my life normally, but, Nibiru's right, we should at least, mention it. Yeah, so I'm mentioning it. It's still going on over there in Fukushima. They're pumping water in to cool something, I don't know what. I assume it's gone down. I assume the nuclear fuel has gone down into the ground, but whatever, they're topping it off with water. And that water that they don't actually pump back out and store in tanks is actually going into the ocean. So you need to know that. That stuff's going in the ocean. Okay. How dangerous that is immediately, I don't know. But it's been going on for 2 years, so you do the math if you want. If it can happen there, it can happen anywhere. It's not the most dangerous place. I mean, we got places that dangerous here in the U.S. Places to put a nuclear plant. I've been saying, I said it once before, that I don't believe nuclear power was about giving us cheap, clean, efficient energy. I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, I'm back. I have said, I believe it was even before Fukushima happened, that nuclear power is about it's about human control. It's about a safety switch. It's about them tampering with our DNA. It's about all that weirdness. There's like 3 things that serve, right? nuclear power does. It serves as a boogeyman, like, it gives us an excuse to run, roughshod over countries and tell them you can't have this, technology, whatever, because it's dangerous or whatever. So that's one. It's diplomatic. We get to bully people. Number two is the money. Banks and money. These things aren't cheap, and they're not cheap for a reason, because the more they spend on them, the more money they get. The banks love to make loans for billions of dollars. Ooh, great, because someone's going to pay that back. And guess who pays it back? You and I do, the ratepayers. We pay it back. The taxpayers. So it's a big boondoggle for the banks and anybody who works for them, such as whoever decides to build these facilities. It's a boondoggle for them. Hey, we got to build these facilities, hooray. But you would think, since they love to spend money, and it pays them to spend as much as possible, you'd think, while they're engineering these things, they would spare no expense and find the exact right place to put these facilities, but they do not. And so I'm saying that is not an accident. So number three is as a last-ditch effort to control the population. If we're getting out of hand, they're going to radiate us. Or maybe they're not even going to wait. I don't know. They've already started radiating us. So that's my conspiracy theory part. But that doesn't even have to be true. They're either really incompetent, which I doubt, or they're very crafty and greedy, which I very much believe. But whatever. That's the conspiracy part. Either way, it's really happening. We're really being radiated. So enjoy that. And look into it. Or don't enjoy it, whatever. But look into it. And enjoy everything else. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, issue number 2. The NSA. Intelligence agencies spying on us. I was watching an interview of an ex-congresswoman or whatever she was, senator, and she was saying, well, they have strict rules in place and this sort of thing is not allowed to happen. Well, that's like anything else. There are rules in place all over this country about all kinds of things. But if you are the right person, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. And I suspect that anyone in the NSA is the right person. I believe they are all, anyone in the intelligence community, or at least the higher-ups of them, are elite. That's my opinion about them, anyway. Probably the elite's children are all working for the NSA, the CIA, and all that bullshit crap. So, rules, schmools, they probably, there are rules in place. Those are, to me, just there to look good, so that when this sort of thing happens, they can point to these rules. Oh, see, there are rules. Yeah, there are rules, but how do you know that the NSA isn't lying to you about whether they comply with those rules? You don't know. You don't know. Congress doesn't know. I suspect any senator knows that it's all bullshit anyway, because they've been co-opted since the beginning of this country. Any senator. But there's probably some dupes in the House. But there's no way you can know that they follow these rules. Just because they say there are rules doesn't mean they're capable of breaking these rules. They are incapable of breaking them. They certainly are capable. If there's a computer terminal there in the NSA office and it's connected to everything in the world, and that computer terminal has the capability to do whatever they want, and the only thing restricting them are rules, what's to stop them? The rules? Those are a lot of words written down somewhere, and who's going to enforce those rules? Anybody? How do I know they do? I don't know. So this whole NSA intelligence system is too big, unaccountable. You're not going to know. I'm not going to know. I don't trust any of it. We don't even need it. Last I knew, there were 17 intelligence agencies in the United States. 17. And that was like 20 years ago, last I checked. Now we have Homeland Security. Whoop-de-doo. You know, it's just getting bigger and stupider. And more out of control. Not that it ever was in control. It's in their control. I personally assume, that intelligence agencies run the world. They are, you know, the workforce of the elite. They make sure the dirty jobs get done. And we get spied on, and they know, you know, they have their finger on the pulse of the people. When we get out of hand, they'll know it. I don't pause. Okay, yeah, so don't get sucked into the belief in these rules and, you know, that everybody's following them. We obviously know that's not true. You know, big corporations cheat and they get a little slap on the wrist, if anything. You know, sometimes they don't even get charged. Was it that big MF Global scandal? That the guy who ran that whole thing, they're not even interested in him. You know, the SEC is Securities and Exchange Commission. They don't give a shit about all this banking scandals that are happening. You know, so rules don't mean crap if no one's going to enforce them, and they're not. Okay, so they're just there to look good, and if you break a rule, believe me, they're going to crack down on you. Because you're not in their club, or I'm not in their club. Maybe you are in their club. Tell them I said so. Whatever. Oh yeah, speaking of banking. Well, I watch Max Kaiser, even though he is kind of a pump and dumper, you know, potentially. And whatever. He still has guests on that know things, okay? So, the last couple of guests he's had on are talking about the Bank of England and the amount of gold they have actually on hand, and that they're the ones who are supposed to cover the bullion banks and all of the mess they get into when people come and say, look, I want my gold back. I have bought gold, and, you know, I bought my paper gold, and I would like to retrieve it. And so the Bank of England is supposed to step in and cover that if the bullion banks can't handle it. But according to Max's guests, the Bank of England doesn't have the gold that they once did, and it's dwindling, and they're trying to cover and, you know, do all kinds of paper dumps to make the price go down so that they can buy it back, so they can, you know, cover all these shorts. And one of his guests is saying that if they can't do it, if they can't keep covering, that the banking system will fail. And he believes we're close to that within a month or so, something like that. So, I mean, that's nothing new for me. I try to keep as little money in the bank as possible. But, you know, how long is cash going to be good? Who knows, right? I don't know. Pausing it. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I'm not really as alarmist as all this sounds. This may sound, you know, these things come up and they go. They come and they go. So, you know, naturally I'm assuming this is going to come and go also. You know, the embassy's closing, and maybe even this gold problem will come and go. But I doubt it. See, now the financials are all wrong, and I think most people know that by now. We can't keep doing this, you know, all the debt and all that stuff. Eventually, they're going to have to rejigger this whole system, and when they do, you and I aren't going to have any input in how it gets done. And I'm sure they have a solution on the table already, and if it involves gold, if it does involve gold, then they are the people who are going to decide the solution, I'm sure are squirreling it away. But I don't know that that's their solution. It could be all digital, their solution, and have nothing to do with gold. It's possible that we've gone X number of thousands of years valuing gold, to me, a commodity that has no purpose, except as a store of, faith in value. Everybody believes it has value, so that's why we value it. And it's a good metal to do that with, because it's not everywhere. You can't just pick it up off the ground. So, but they may turn around now that China has a boatload of it, and they're not saying that they do, but they do. They may turn around on a dime and say, no, we're going digital fiat. The majority of the world has been caught with their pants down, all of the English-speaking world. And since we're the majority, we're going to say we're going digital. And it's digital fiat, and we're all going to do it together. So if you want to go with your gold system, you're on the outs, and we're all in the club, and you're not. So they might just say F you to China and say either go digital with us or you're out of the club. That's only a possibility. I don't know that. They may go with gold, and they may be hoarding it themselves. The bankers or whatever. They sell us paper gold while they take the real gold home with them. It could be that. It could be going that way. I don't know what's going to happen. But something will happen, and that's my point with as far as the financial stuff. Something is going to happen, and it's going to be big. And probably, no matter what happens, you and I will get caught with our pants down, unless we bought food and have paid off our property and all that stuff. And if you haven't prepared for some big sort of event, then you're going to be beholden to the government and whatever they want you to do. Once you're on their dole, that's not the best place to be. I gotta pause. Okay, bye. Okay, so I just came out of Cabelas. There goes a car. I checked up on their rules. They're not restricting anything except for 22. You can only buy one box of 22. And they only had a couple boxes there of 22 short, and I don't know anything about that stuff. So I was just in here for 9mm. And they had lots of slots for 9mm, but they only had 115 grain, which is kind of pathetic, but I'll take what I can get. They had 20 boxes of that, so I got 4. I don't want to get crazy. There's gun shops around. I can go there. I'm sure they have what I really want, which is like 124 grain, something like that. Whatever, it's boring. But they used to have at Cabelas, the lady said, a limit of 5 boxes for everything. But now that restriction is gone. But that doesn't mean it's there. So there was a lot of gaps there. 22 was gone, basically. Okay, good date.
Whatever, white people.